What if the one thing holding you back from true peace isn't someone else's fault? What if it's your own anger that keeps you stuck, frustrated, and emotionally drained every single day? You've tried to control the people around you. You've justified your reactions. You told yourself, I wouldn't get angry if they just acted right. But how's that working for you? Are your relationships better? Is your life calmer? Or are you still waking up with tension in your chest, replaying old arguments and preparing for new ones before your coffee even cools? Let's be honest. Anger feels justified in the moment. It gives you a rush of power, a sense of being right. But what happens when that feeling fades? What's left behind is regret, exhaustion, and emotional damage that takes far longer to heal than the few seconds it took to lose control. Science confirms what your heart already knows. Chronic anger rewires your brain for stress. It spikes cortisol, disrupts sleep, weakens immunity, and destroys trust in your closest relationships. And yet, so many of us keep carrying it like a badge of honor, thinking we're protecting ourselves, when in reality we're hurting the only person who can truly change things, you. Think about the last time you got angry. Did it solve anything? Did it bring you closer to the life you want? Or did it push people away, cloud your judgment, and leave you wishing you'd stayed calm? Here's the truth. No one else is responsible for your peace. Not your partner, not your boss, not the driver who cut you off, or the friend who let you down. The only person who can give you peace is you. And until you understand that, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, getting upset, reacting impulsively, and wondering why nothing ever changes. But imagine this. What if you could walk into any situation, no matter how frustrating, and stay grounded? What if you could hear criticism without defensiveness, face disappointment without resentment, and deal with difficult people without losing yourself? How would your life shift if you stopped letting others control your emotions? That's not wishful thinking. That's emotional freedom. And it starts by understanding the hidden cost of anger, not just what it does to your body, but what it steals from your future. Because here's the real tragedy. Anger doesn't protect you. It limits you. It keeps you small, reactive, and blind to opportunities. It clouds your vision so you can't see clearly enough to make wise decisions. And worst of all, it makes you believe that peace is something that depends on other people behaving the way you think they should. But peace was never meant to be conditional. Real peace is unshakable. It's not dependent on perfect circumstances or perfect people. It's built from within, from a mindset that refuses to give power away, from a choice to respond instead of react, from a deep understanding that your energy is too valuable to waste on battles that don't serve you. So ask yourself, how much longer are you going to carry this weight? How many more moments will you ruin because someone else didn't meet your expectations? How many more chances will you miss to connect, grow, and live fully because you were too busy being bothered? This isn't about becoming passive or indifferent. It's about becoming powerful. It's about choosing calm over chaos, wisdom over reaction, and freedom over the illusion of control. And the best part? This isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, step by step, breath by breath, decision by decision. If you're ready to stop wasting your energy on things you can't control, if you're tired of feeling like a prisoner of your own emotions, then keep watching, because what you're about to learn will change everything. You don't have to keep getting angry. You don't have to keep getting bothered. There is another way, one that leads to clarity, confidence, and lasting inner peace. And it starts the moment you decide to take back control. You've already taken the first step. You recognize that peace is not something you wait for. It's something you create. And now it's time to understand why you react in the first place. Because the key to mastering your emotions lies not in what happens to you, but in what you believe about yourself. Every time someone pushes your buttons, it feels personal. Like they're targeting you, disrespecting you, trying to bring you down. But here's what most people never realize. Your reaction has very little to do with them, and everything to do with the stories you carry inside. These stories were written long before this moment. They were formed when you were young and learning what love meant, when you started believing that being right was more important than being at peace, when you decided that control equals safety. These beliefs run deep. They shape how you interpret every word, every action, every glance. And when something threatens those beliefs, your body reacts instantly. Heart racing, jaw tightening, mind clouding with anger. This is not just emotional, it's biological. Your brain is wired to protect you from threats. But it doesn't distinguish between physical danger and emotional discomfort. So when someone challenges your ego, questions your decisions, or ignores your needs, your nervous system kicks into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze. And in that moment, logic goes out the window. But here's the breakthrough. You are not your biology. You are not a prisoner of your past programming. You have the power to change the way you respond, not by suppressing your emotions, but by understanding them. Ask yourself this: when you get angry, what are you really afraid of losing? Control, respect, validation, safety? The truth is, every reaction is rooted in fear. Fear that you're not enough. Fear that you'll be ignored. Fear that you'll be hurt again. That fear may have protected you once, but today it's holding you back. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to win every argument. What you truly need is peace. And peace begins when you stop looking outside yourself for the reason behind your emotions. Think of it like this: no one can make you feel anything without your permission. Not your partner, not your boss, not even the person who cuts you off in traffic. They may trigger a memory, a belief, an old wound, but they do not control your response. You do. That realization is powerful, because once you see that your reactions come from within, you gain the ability to choose differently. You can pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this helping me move closer to peace or pulling me further away? This is not about ignoring injustice or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing where to invest your energy. Will you spend it on fighting battles that drain you, or will you invest it in building the life you truly want? Every time you react with anger, you reinforce the idea that someone else holds the keys to your peace. Every time you choose calm, you reclaim your power. And over time, these choices compound. You start seeing situations differently. You begin to recognize patterns. You notice that the same triggers keep showing up, not because the world is against you, but because there are still lessons to learn within yourself. Because growth isn't about changing others. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer gets shaken by things they cannot control. So ask yourself, who would you be if you stopped letting people push your buttons? If you responded with curiosity instead of defensiveness? If you saw their behavior as a reflection of their own struggles, not a direct attack on you? Imagine walking through life with that kind of clarity. Imagine carrying yourself with such inner strength that nothing anyone says or does can steal your peace. That version of you already exists. You just have to choose her. Every single day, in every situation, one breath at a time. Because real power isn't about proving yourself. It's about staying centered. It's about knowing who you are, regardless of what's happening around you. And once you start living from that place, grounded, aware, intentional, everything changes. Your relationships become deeper. Your mind becomes clearer. Your life becomes lighter. Because you finally understand the truth, your peace was never dependent on other people behaving perfectly. It was always yours to claim. You now understand that your reactions come from within. That anger is not a response to the world around you, but a reflection of what's already inside. And with that awareness comes responsibility, not blame, not guilt, but power. Because when you stop looking outside yourself for the cause of your emotions, you open the door to true freedom. You begin to see people not as threats, but as mirrors. Their words and actions don't control you, they reveal you. They show you where you still carry pain, where you still seek validation, where you still believe peace must be earned or protected. But here's the breakthrough. Peace is not something you chase. It's something you choose, again and again, especially when it's hard. Especially when everything in you wants to fight back, explain yourself, or prove you're right. Choosing peace doesn't mean giving up. It means growing up. It means realizing that your energy is too valuable to waste on battles that leave you empty. It means seeing every moment as an opportunity to become more grounded, more centered, more unshakable. Think about the last time someone pushed your buttons. Did you walk away feeling stronger, or did you feel drained, frustrated, even defeated? Because no matter how loud you speak or how hard you argue, anger never gives you real strength. It only gives you temporary intensity. And intensity without direction leads nowhere. Real strength lies in restraint, in the ability to pause when everyone else reacts, in the courage to walk away from a fight you could have won, just to protect your peace. Because when you react with anger, you give someone else control over your emotional state. When you respond with calm, you take that control back. This isn't easy, but nothing worth building ever is. The truth is, most people live their entire lives reacting instead of responding. They let every comment, every inconvenience, every disappointment dictate their mood, their energy, their day, and they wonder why they feel stuck, exhausted, unhappy. But you're choosing something different. You're choosing to see people not as enemies, but as reflections of their own struggles. You're choosing to understand that no one behaves perfectly because no one lives perfectly. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. including you. And once you embrace this truth, something shifts. You stop taking things personally. You stop needing others to behave a certain way for you to feel okay. You start recognizing that their behavior has nothing to do with your worth, and everything to do with their own pain, fears, and limitations. That's not letting them off the hook. That's letting yourself off the hook. Because when you stop tying your peace to someone else's behavior, you break free. You stop waiting for apologies, explanations, or changes before you allow yourself to feel good. You reclaim your power. You decide that your peace is non-negotiable. And that decision changes everything. Your relationships begin to shift, not because others suddenly change, but because you do. You communicate differently. You listen more. You speak with clarity instead of frustration. You no longer need to be right. You just need to be at peace. And in that space, new possibilities emerge. Doors open that were previously blocked by resentment. Opportunities appear that you couldn't see through the fog of anger. You begin to attract people who match your energy, calm, grounded, intentional, because that's how life works. You don't draw what you want, you draw what you are. So ask yourself, who do you want to be? The person who gets pulled into every drama, or the one who walks calmly through chaos untouched by the noise? Because here's the reality, people will always do things that frustrate you. That's part of being human. But how you respond, that's entirely up to you. Every moment is a choice. Will you react out of habit, or will you respond from a place of strength? Every breath is an opportunity. Will you use it to fuel anger, or will you use it to ground yourself in peace? Every situation is a test. Will you let it shake you, or will you let it strengthen you? This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming powerful. It's about knowing that your peace is not dependent on perfect circumstances or perfect people. It's about understanding that your power lies in your ability to stay centered, no matter what's happening around you. And once you make that shift, once you truly embody that truth, nothing can touch you. No word, no action, no situation. Because your peace is no longer something you try to maintain. It's something you already are. You now know that peace is not something you wait for. It's something you choose. You've seen how your reactions are shaped by old wounds, unmet expectations, and the need for control. And you've begun to understand that true strength isn't about proving yourself, but about staying centered when everything around you pulls for a reaction. But understanding isn't enough. Knowledge without action is like fuel without fire. It has potential, but no power. So how do you turn this awareness into real change? How do you move from knowing what to do to actually doing it, especially in the moments that test you the most? It starts with building emotional immunity. Not suppression, not pretending everything is fine when it's not, but developing the inner strength to stay grounded, even when life feels overwhelming. Because just like your body needs exercise and nutrition to stay strong, your mind needs daily training to remain calm under pressure. Think of it like this: if you only lift weights once a month, you won't build muscle. If you only practice peace when things are easy, you won't have it when they get hard. True emotional resilience is built in the quiet moments, the ones no one sees. When you pause before reacting, when you breathe instead of explode, when you choose silence over argument, reflection over resentment. This kind of discipline doesn't happen overnight, but every single time you choose peace over drama, you reinforce a new neural pathway, one that makes the next choice easier, and the one after that even easier. The key is consistency, not perfection. Start small. Every morning, take 3 deep breaths before jumping into your day. Give yourself just 10 seconds between stimulus and response. That tiny space is where freedom lives, because in that space you remember, you are not your first reaction. You are the one who chooses what comes next. Then begin the practice of detachment, not coldness, not indifference, but awareness. See situations as if you're watching them unfold on a screen. Ask yourself, is this about me, or is this about their pain, their fear, their struggle? Most of the time, it's not about you at all. When someone cuts you off in traffic, it's not a personal attack. It's someone distracted, stressed, or lost in their own world. When a coworker ignores your message, it's not rejection. It's probably oversight, fatigue, or pressure from above. When a loved one lashes out, it's rarely about you. It's about the weight they carry that you don't see. Seeing people this way doesn't excuse bad behavior. It simply removes the power it holds over you. And that's where your peace begins. Another powerful tool is reframing. Instead of seeing people as obstacles, start seeing them as teachers. Every difficult person in your life is showing you something important. about your triggers, your boundaries, your growth edges. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? What part of me is still fragile? What belief am I holding on to that causes me pain? Because when you shift from judgment to curiosity, you stop feeding anger and start feeding wisdom. Also, never underestimate the power of gratitude. Science shows that people who consistently practice gratitude experience lower levels of stress, improved sleep, and greater emotional resilience. So each night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Even small things: the warmth of your coffee, a text from a friend, the sound of rain. This simple habit rewires your brain to focus on what's working, rather than what's wrong. Then there's meditation, not as a spiritual ritual, but as mental training. Just 5 minutes a day of focused breathing strengthens your ability to stay calm under pressure. It teaches your nervous system that you are safe, even when life feels chaotic. And finally, reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did my actions today bring me closer to peace or further away? What could I have done differently? What will I carry forward tomorrow? These are not quick fixes. They are long-term investments in your emotional well-being. And the more you practice them, the stronger your peace becomes. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you get stronger. You become someone who doesn't break under pressure. Someone who doesn't lose themselves in arguments. Someone who walks through chaos with clarity and calm. You become unshakable. And that kind of transformation doesn't just change your mood for the day, it changes the entire trajectory of your life. Because when you no longer let others control your emotions, you gain full access to your power. You make better decisions, you build deeper relationships, you show up as the best version of yourself, not because you have perfect circumstances, but because you've mastered your response to whatever life throws your way. So keep practicing, keep choosing, keep growing, because the peace you seek is not waiting for the right moment. It's being built in every mindful breath, every conscious choice, every time you decide not to let someone steal your calm. And that, more than anything, is what defines the life you live. You've built a strong foundation. You understand that your peace comes from within. You've learned to pause, reflect, and respond instead of react. You've started building emotional immunity through daily practices that keep you grounded, centered, and in control. But now comes the real test. The moment when everything you've learned meets the fire of real life. Because no matter how much inner work you do, there will always be people who push your buttons. Situations that challenge your calm, moments that make you question if all this effort is even worth it. And that's when the choice becomes most powerful. Will you fall back into old patterns, letting frustration take over, letting anger rise, letting someone else steal your peace? Or will you remember who you are now? Because you are not the same person who started watching this video. You've grown, you've changed, and with that change comes responsibility. Not to be perfect, but to stay committed to the version of yourself that no longer tolerates unnecessary suffering. So when someone says something hurtful, ask yourself, do I want to defend my ego or protect my energy? When a situation doesn't go your way, ask yourself, will I waste my power fighting what I can't control, or will I redirect it toward what I can? Every time you choose peace over validation, you reinforce who you're becoming. You train your mind to stay centered. You prove to yourself that your happiness isn't dependent on others behaving perfectly. Because here's the truth, most people fight for their right to be upset. They argue until they're exhausted just to feel heard. They replay past conversations in their head, rehearsing comebacks that will never be used. They hold on to grudges like they're valuable treasures. But you know better. You know that peace is more valuable than being right. You know that silence can be stronger than words. You know that sometimes walking away is the loudest statement you can make. And that takes courage. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't demand attention. Real strength is quiet. It's the ability to look someone in the eye when they're trying to provoke you and respond with calm instead of conflict. It's the ability to walk away from a conversation that would have once consumed you, to let go of an argument you could have won, but chose not to fight, because you value your peace more than proving a point. This kind of discipline separates those who live in freedom from those who remain trapped by their emotions. You see, people who get angry easily aren't weak, they're just untrained. Their reactions are automatic because they've never taken the time to build emotional resilience. They believe their feelings are facts. They think if they feel wronged, they must be. But you know better. You know that emotions are signals, not commands. You know that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. You know that every impulse passes if you don't give it fuel. That's why you breathe instead of lash out. That's why you pause instead of react. That's why you choose stillness over drama. Because you understand something most people don't. True power lies in self-mastery. And every time you choose peace over reaction, you strengthen that mastery. You become someone who doesn't lose themselves in chaos, someone who remains grounded when others panic, someone who walks into difficult situations with clarity instead of fear. People will notice, not because you tell them, but because they feel it. They sense your presence. They recognize your energy. They see that you're different, that you don't get pulled into every battle, that you don't sweat the small stuff, that you don't let setbacks define your mood. And some will try to pull you back in. They'll call you cold, distant, unbothered. They'll mistake your calm for indifference. But you know the difference. Your peace is not emptiness, it's fullness. It's the result of deep inner work. It's the product of conscious choices. It's the reward of refusing to give your power away. And the more you protect it, the more you attract others who respect it. You begin to build a life where drama has no place, where resentment loses its grip, where you no longer waste hours replaying past conflicts in your head. Instead, you move forward with purpose, with clarity, with unshakable confidence, because you've made peace non-negotiable, not because life is easy, but because you are strong. And that strength doesn't come from avoiding hard moments. It comes from facing them and choosing peace anyway. So the next time someone tests you, remember this: you are not here to win arguments. You are here to win your life. You are not here to be provoked. You are here to be present. You are not here to react. You are here to respond with wisdom, with grace, with unbreakable calm. Because peace is not just a feeling, it's a decision, one you make again and again. And every time you make it, you become more of who you truly are. You've come a long way. You no longer believe that peace depends on perfect people or perfect circumstances. You've learned to pause instead of react, to breathe instead of fight, to choose calm over chaos, even when everything in you wants to prove a point. Now it's time to step fully into the new version of yourself, the one who doesn't get shaken by words, the one who walks away from battles they could have won just to protect their energy, the one who no longer lets anyone steal their peace. Because this is not just about managing emotions anymore. It's about identity. It's about becoming someone who lives with clarity, strength, and unshakable confidence, no matter what comes your way. Imagine waking up without the weight of yesterday's arguments pressing down on you. Imagine walking into every situation knowing that nothing anyone says or does can pull you off center. Imagine having conversations where you listen more than you speak, where you respond instead of react, where you walk away feeling stronger, not drained. That's not fantasy. That's discipline. That's growth. That's the life you're building, one choice at a time. And here's the most powerful truth. This new identity isn't something you wait for. It's something you claim right now, in this moment, with full awareness of who you were and full commitment to who you are becoming. You don't need permission. You don't need someone else to change first. You don't need external validation to start living differently. All you need is the decision. Will you keep letting people determine your emotional state, or will you take full responsibility for your peace, no matter what happens around you? Because that's the difference between those who live in freedom and those who remain trapped by their emotions. One group waits for the world to behave perfectly before they allow themselves to feel good. The other group decides their peace is non-negotiable, regardless of what others do or say. Which one are you choosing to be? This isn't about being passive or indifferent. It's about being powerful. It's about recognizing that your energy is too valuable to waste on things you cannot control. It's about understanding that peace is not given. It's claimed. Every time you choose calm over conflict, you reinforce that identity. Every time you walk away from an argument that used to consume you, you prove it. Every time you see someone struggling and respond with compassion instead of frustration, you live it. This is not weakness. This is mastery. And as you continue building this new way of being, you'll notice something powerful happening around you. Your relationships begin to shift. Not because others suddenly become perfect, because you show up differently. Speak with more intention. You listen with more presence. You move through life with less resistance. And in return, life moves more easily with you. People stop trying to provoke you because they sense your groundedness. They stop pulling you into drama because they realize you won't stay there. They start respecting your energy because you clearly value it yourself. Because the way you carry yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. And when you carry peace like armor, nothing can shake you. You become unbothered. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you refuse to give power to what once controlled you. You become unstoppable. Not because you never face challenges, but because you no longer let them define your state. You become free, not because life has become easy, but because you've made peace your priority, no matter the cost. So ask yourself, who do you want to be from this moment forward? The person who gets pulled into every storm? Or the one who walks calmly through the chaos, untouched by the noise? Because you already know the answer. You've known it all along. It's just a matter of choosing it, again and again, with every breath, with every challenge, with every opportunity to react. Decide not to. Because your peace is not just a goal. It's a daily decision. And today, you choose it. Right now, you choose it. And from this moment on, you live it.